Yeah, it's a really great question, and that's super sad. And so yes, so there is the only way I'm going to say this, and I want you to double check this with a pastor or a spiritual guider in your life, because this is just Charlie Kirk off the cuff. The way IVF is traditionally done, let me put it this way: our family would never do it because it is implied that you create many lives and many will not live. Okay. So, for example, you fertilize 6 eggs, you implant them, and 4 or 5 will not make it. The only way that IVF could potentially be ethically okay is if you only implant as many eggs as you are comfortable having children, if that makes sense. Now, there is a moral argument again, I'm not talking about politically. Politically, it should remain legal. People want it. And I'm just talking about personally morally right now, if that makes sense. That personally, morally, let's say that if you are if you are comfortable having twins, then you could potentially implant 2 embryos that are fertilized, right? And so the issue is that they overcreate them, or you could do 1 embryo at a time, or as many embryos at a time. The problem is it gets very expensive then, because you have to pay for the procedure to implant up against the uterine wall every time, where an IVF doctor will roll his eyes and be like, well, what's the big deal? Well, you and I believe that every one of those embryos is a life, right? So every one of those embryos we believe actually is a formed life. And so I will say this, though. If you can find an ethical way to do it, within the Christian worldview that I'm assuming that you have, I think it's something worth entertaining. But I hesitate at times to just say, from a Christian perspective, it's nothing but great from our own personal moral perspective. Again, not from a political or a policy perspective, because it is implied that you overcreate. So if you make 12 eggs, for example, and if you succeed on the second, there's just 10 extras that are frozen into a freezer. But we love life and we love families, and I totally understand. I reserve no judgment or condemnation for people that go through in vitro fertilization at all. So we have to find a way through the issue. But again, what I'm talking about is just what I think personally how we would navigate it, not from a policy perspective. I hope that's helpful.